Hello everyone, it is 12:30, it is Tuesday, and that means it is time for an episode of First Chapter Fun. My name is Hannah Mary McKinnon and I am an author of a number of psychological suspense novels, and with my partner in fictional crime, Hank Philippi Ryan, First Chapter Fun is where we both read the first chapter of a different book twice a week on Instagram and on Facebook. Now, we always have technical issues, and it seems to me that right now we're having some technical issues on Instagram. So I'm going to do my little tech stuff, and here we go. Let's see. Yes, I'm now live. So we just had that was a little snippet of what happens on First Chapter Fun when we do the technical checks. So let me start that again. Welcome everyone. It is Tuesday. It is a teensy bit after 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Hannah Mary McKinnon, and I am the author of a number of psychological suspense books. And with my partner in fictional crime, Hank Philippi Ryan, First Chapter Fun is where we read the first chapter of a different book, not ours, other people's, twice a week on Tuesday and on Thursday, both on Facebook and on Instagram. So wherever you're watching from right now, welcome. If you have not caught an episode of First Chapter Fun before, well, today is episode 146. Yes, that's right. We have been broadcasting. It was every day in March last year when the pandemic hit. And then after that, as of May, Hank and I moved to twice a week. So every Tuesday and every Thursday. And here we are. And we are so delighted to see so many of you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And you've noticed if you've watched this before, and not on Instagram, but if you've watched this before on Facebook, you'll see that it has a slightly different layout. So we're actually broadcasting via StreamYard, which allows us to do, and again, you can't see this on Instagram, but you can on Facebook. It allows you to do this funky little, I was going to show you with my mouse, that's not going to work. You see underneath it says First Chapter Fun with Hannah and Hank. And then once I reveal which book I'm reading from, you'll be able to see that no matter what time you tune into the broadcast. Not only that, but also I can see on Instagram, I can see your comments. I see that Jen Jumba has joined and Jess Montgomery, who I'll introduce shortly. We have Man Gabriel, we have Books Wine has joined, and Diane and Caroline. It's so lovely to see you all. Thank you. And on Facebook, I see Hank, of course, my partner in fictional crime. Fictional. Yes, fictional. Yes, it is. And a word of warning's the wrong word, but about Facebook and StreamYard. If you comment on StreamYard on Facebook, or if you leave a comment on Facebook, if you have not allowed StreamYard as an app, all we can see is Facebook user, but we don't know who you are. So if you're not sure if you've allowed StreamYard as an app on Facebook, and you can leave a comment, just pop your name afterwards. And that way we know who you are, because we can highlight the comments. I can, for example, you can't see this on Instagram, but I can show Hank's comment who says, hello all, which I won't be able to do, of course, when I'm reading, because I'd have to be super talented to do that, and I can't. But welcome everyone. It's such a treat to see you. Let me tell you a couple of things. So we have the wonderful Jess Montgomery here today, reading from Jess's book, The STILLS. I think you can see that really well on both Instagram and Facebook. Such a treat to read. This is actually the third time, yes, not the first, second, but the third time we have featured one of Jess's books on First Chapter Fun. The first time, I'm going to get my date so I don't mix this up, was on April the 4th, almost a year ago, with The Widows. That was the first in the Kinship Mystery Series. Then The Hollows was on October the 1st, and today we have The STILLS. Now, one of the lovely things about First Chapter Fun, both on Instagram and Facebook, is that you can go back and watch any or all of the episodes you might have missed. And the way to do that is to go to the First Chapter Fun, either on Instagram in the IGTV, or on Facebook, join the First Chapter Fun Facebook group. And there you will see in our archive on the videos tab, so media and then videos, you'll find them all. Or there's an announcement post right at the top where you have the list of every single episode from the most recent to the least recent. Searching for words there, not a good sign as an author. So you can go back and watch every single episode of First Chapter Fun if you would like. And today, again, this is episode 146. And today's book, and let me show you that cover again, The Stills by Jess Montgomery. And Jess has very, very kindly offered a giveaway on both platforms. So let me tell you how to enter for a chance to win a copy of The Stills. Instagram, dead easy. Jess is watching. Hi, Jess. Thanks for coming back and letting us read for you again. Leave a comment on Instagram right now during the reading, because the comments disappear. They disappear once we move it to IGTV. So if you would like to be in for a chance of winning the book, brackets not affiliated with Facebook or Instagram, leave a comment on Instagram right now. On Facebook, it's a little bit different. Don't worry, you don't have to rush and do anything right now. If you're watching in the First Chapter Fun group, if that's where you're watching the video, because we're streaming to multiple locations, leave a comment for Jess. And that way you'll be entered for a chance to win. If you are watching on Facebook, but somewhere else, like in Great Thoughts, Great Readers, don't worry. Don't rush out. Don't rush off. Don't leave. You have until midnight tonight to go to First Chapter Fun and comment on this post, this video in the First Chapter Fun group. So you have a lot longer on Facebook simply because it doesn't wipe the comments like Instagram does. So no matter where you're watching on Facebook, if you would like to leave a comment for Jess, ask her a question, please just make sure you tag her, Jess Montgomery author, and that way she knows that you've commented and she can see the comments and answer as best she can. So that's the whole housekeeping stuff. I hope that was clear. So let me recap. On Instagram, to win or be in a chance to win a copy of The Stills, leave a comment right now. On Facebook, if you're on First Chapter Fun, leave a comment there. If you're not watching this in First Chapter Fun, do it afterwards until midnight. You have time, don't you worry. So, The Stills. Let me tell you about Jess and about her brilliant book, The Stills. And I'm going to do, so watch this. So can't see this on Instagram, but on Facebook now, ta-da! It says, today, Hannah reads The Stills by Jess Montgomery. How cool is that? That's really cool. So pleased about that. So let me tell you, I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't see. Let me tell you about Jess. Jess Montgomery is the author of the award-winning Kinship Historical Mystery Series, inspired by Ohio's true first female sheriff in 1925. Under her given name, she's also the literary life columnist for the Dayton Daily News and writes the Level Up fiction craft and inspiration column for Writer's Digest. You can also catch Jess's fabulous Tea with Jess series every Monday at 3 p.m. on her Facebook author page, which is Jess Montgomery Author. And there you can see chats, insights, brief readings, and interviews with authors. And there's so much fun. I did one with Jess for Sister Dear last year, and it was brilliant. It's just so lovely. So make sure you go and check that out. Not right now, once I'm done with the reading. So I'm going to have a quick look at the comments. I see so many comments on Facebook and on Instagram. It's just so wonderful. High Society Book says, I would love to read her books. Yes, Jess's books are amazing. And especially if you like historical and then a bit of mystery and then a female sheriff. I mean, come on, what's not to love? It's just brilliant. Lise says, I love historical mysteries set in the 1920s. Well, you are in for a treat. Let me show you the cover again. There we go. The Stills by Jess Montgomery. And Jess is watching, and I am so pleased. It's just so lovely that you've joined us, Jess, for the third time. I'm so excited. So let me tell you, let me give you Jess's social handles. So Facebook is Jess Montgomery Author, as is Instagram. And on Twitter, she is Jess M_author. And her website is jessmontgomeryauthor.com. So you should see all of that on the Facebook posts for sure. And on Instagram, Jess Montgomery Author, dead easy to remember. So the Stills published very recently, just on March the 9th, and is, of course, available now. So I am going to now tell you about the Stills and read you the back cover copy before we go into the prologue. And it's really good. It's really, really good. Ohio, 1927. Moonshining is a way of life in rural Bronwyn County, and even the otherwise upstanding sheriff, Lily Ross, has been known to turn a blind eye when it comes to stills in the area. But when 13-year-old Jebediah Ranklin almost dies after drinking tainted moonshine, Lily knows that someone has gone too far, and with the help of organizer and moonshiner Marvena Whitcomb, is determined to find out who. But then Lily's nemesis, the businessman George Vogel, reappears in town with his new wife, Fiona. Along with them is also her former brother-in-law, Luther Ross, now an agent for the newly formed Bureau of Prohibition. To Lily, it seems too much of a coincidence that they should arrive now. As fall turns to winter, a blizzard closes in. Lily starts to peel back the layers of deception shrouding the town of kinship, but soon she discovers that many around her seem to be betraying those they hold dear, and that Fiona too may have an agenda of her own. Dun, dun, dun. I'm always fascinated by authors. I write, all of my stuff is not historical. I'm struggling with words. I think I'm a bit too excited to be broadcasting with StreamYard at the moment. But mine are all contemporary. So I'm always just in complete awe of authors who write historical fiction, because there is so much research to do. And woe betide you get the shape of a button or a name or a word or whatever wrong, you know. So this is just absolutely fascinating. So this is the third in the series. Question for you, Jess: can we read them in any order? I believe we can, but if you could just confirm that, that would be great. Now, without further ado, but a small drum roll, let me read you the prologue of The Stills by Jess Montgomery. Here we go. Wednesday, November 23rd, 1927. Thanksgiving Eve, 8:42 a.m. Week before last, cold shooed warmth into a wish and a memory, then rattled tree limbs to leaflessness with one gnarly hand while gripping the earth with the other. Now on this cold earth, Jebediah Harkins lies belly down in the shaggy brush line by an old clearing, as if he'd crawled here through the forest itself. And not yet sticking snow teases Jebediah's face with quick melting licks. He aims his Hamilton single-shot rifle at a squirrel over there by the old stone iron blast furnace. He'd hiked out here last Thanksgiving with his grandpa, who told him about working there, clear-cutting trees for burning into charcoal to be fed along with coral into the smelting fires of the furnace. All that's left now of ironworks in the Appalachian hills of Bronwyn and nearby counties are old furnaces like this. Papa had passed on this spring, and Jebediah has learned of late the value of focusing on whatever's offered in the moment as a way to secure the future, like that unwary squirrel. Wouldn't Ruthie be right pleased if he brought the critter home for a savoury stew? But he hears his sister's weary voice, as if she's knelt beside him to whisper in his ears, "Where did you get that, Zeb? Where have you been all day, if not the schoolhouse?" And he can see her take note of the dirt on his clothes, of the flashing quickness of his dropped gaze. Not for want of trying, Ruthie is the one person he can't lie to. Jebediah doesn't want her to know that he's been skipping school. Zebediah swiped snow from his face. When he refocuses, the squirrel has skittered to just the other side of a makeshift ledge of plank on stone, on which bottles of moonshine are lined up side by side, as if the plank is a proper store shelf. God forbid he shoots one of those bottles. Boss would have his hide. His job is to keep watch over them and the bigger swigging jug, always set out by the time he gets here and stowed away, he reckons, in some hidey hole after he leaves. He doesn't know where the moonshiner still is. Probably not too far off, but that's none of his business. Boss had made sure to tell him that, along with plenty of other admonishments.
Stay quiet. Watch. Note if someone don't leave money for their bottles or swig, or overly guzzles or pockets the coins.
He will only get a small portion, 5 cents for every $1 from the coins he gathers between customers, but plenty of men are coming. He recognizes some from church or from town, and not just because it's Thanksgiving Eve. Talk is that revenuers, the federal agents who work for the Bureau of Prohibition, will soon beset the land like ill-timed locusts. And ain't it nice that the boss trusts him? Pa won't even trust him to come along hunting for wild turkey. Says he was too shaky the last time they went out for squirrel and rabbit. Zebediah's head throbs. As he sits up, his vision speckles, grey spots waltzing with snowflakes. His hand shakes as he reaches into his pocket, but he manages to grab the biscuit, a remnant from last night's supper and dried overnight to the toughness of hard tack. Usually, Ruthie cleans the kitchen nice and proper at night, rises early to make a good hot breakfast, and fills his dinner pail for school, but she's been so preoccupied of late. Zebediah snaps off a biscuit. His mouth waters for want of the squirrel, enough to soften the biscuit. Maybe it's just as well if he doesn't bring home a squirrel. When he complained about the sameness of Ruth's suppers last night, Pa backhanded him so hard that his vision blacked out for several moments. From the other side of this inflicted darkness, he heard Pa growl,
"Don't go making work for your sister, she's got enough."
By which Pa means tend to Ma, dying. Of course, Pa doesn't call it dying. He calls it taking a bad spell, as if Ma had just a touch of fever. But Ma knows. Ruthie knows. Zebediah knew before even they did. There'd been that day back in early September when the last breath of summer taunted red-tinged leaves loosening on high limbs and made the Rossville schoolhouse so suffocatingly warm that Miss Cooper, the schoolmarm, had let everyone tote their dinner pails outside when the mine's noon bell rang. Zebediah had kept right on toting over to Forbidden Creek Run. At their farmhouse, he found Ma out on the side porch, coughing so fiercely that she bent near double as she held her stomach. As she looked up at him, the glassy terror in her eyes told him something was bad wrong. Ma took to her bed shortly after that. Ruth, who was in the 8th grade and loves school so much she has pretensions toward high school, dropped out to tend to Ma and the toddler twins, while Pa works as a labourer for Sheriff Lily Ross and others in Bronwyn County, and spent the rest of his time at the River Rock Holiness Church praying for a miracle. Till recently, Sunday before last, he proclaimed it good for nothing. At least twice since, like last night when he was backhanded, Zebediah thought he smelled liquor on Pa's breath. Imagine Pa showing up here as a customer, a prospect both terrifying and amusing. Both Ma and Pa expect him to just keep on going to school, even though he's the opposite of Ruthie. For him, reading is especially hard. The letters lift off the page and swim around. Why, he ought to be the one dropped out, tending to Ma, but Ruthie's older, and a girl, and... The footsteps crunch the frozen spikes of grass on the other side of the old iron furnace. Zebediah quickly goes back down on his belly like a sneaky snake. He grins at the notion, hidden, but still able to see who approaches. He doesn't recognize the men, and they're not the sort he expects. Farmers, coal miners, hunters. One is in a fine wool coat and boots, the other in just a suit and two-toned leather lace-up dress shoes. Both wear fedora hats. Jebediah frowns. "Here it is," the man in coat and boots says, gesturing at the makeshift shelf. Jebediah's frown deepens. This man's voice has the sound of the hills and the hollers, each word jangling onto the next like bees on a string. But something makes him seem an outsider, even more than the younger man, coatless and in fancy shoes, too fragile for backwoods hiking. Are these men part of the revenuers people have been talking about? The coatless younger man shivers so hard that his voice crackles as he asks,
"This is it. You were supposed to lead me to Vogel's main operation."
Vogel? Jebediah wonders who that is.
"Well, one small operation leads to the bigger ones."
The older man grins as if he's clever, but he looks more like a rat baring its teeth. Jebediah's heart pounds. Something's not right. He wants to yell at the younger man. "Run!" The younger man says,
"Isn't better. We're paying you enough."
"No, the pay isn't all that I'm after. You promised."
"You'd better not be toying with the Bureau. We're deadly serious."
The younger man pulls out a revolver, but it shakes in his hand. "Damn, mister," thinks Jebediah. "Stop shaking." Maybe he can't help it, just like Jebediah can't. The older man's expression stiffens.
"Let me show you some markings on the jug that will help you believe me. A symbol that leads straight to Vogel. Put away the damn gun first."
Markings? The only marking was 3 X's, signifying that the whiskey was triple distilled. That won't lead to whoever this Vogel is. As the younger man puts away his gun, something blue and gold pinned to his vest flashes in the spare morning sun. He steps toward the bank. The older man pulls out a pistol from inside his overcoat and shoots, grazing the stone furnace. At the cracking sound, the younger fellow whirls around, and a second shot hits him in the head. Blood spurts as he goes down to his knees, dropping his weapon, grabbing at his head, knocking his fedora to the ground. But then his eyes roll back, his bloody hands drop, and he falls forward. The older man strides over, kicks the young fellow over to his back, stares down as if regarding nothing more than a fallen tree limb. "Run!" The moonshiner had told Jebediah to run if there was trouble, and this is the greatest mess he's ever seen. But all he can do is stare, transfixed. The older man's mouth curls, just the slightest self-congratulatory smile. Startled by the odd, cold reaction, Jebediah gasps, drawing the man's glassy glare, and Jebediah holds his breath. A chipmunk darts out from the old iron furnace, making the man jump, look away. Then he laughs, pulls a flask from his hip pocket, tries to take a swig, frowns, irritated that it's empty. He opens the sipping jug, drinks, 1 gulp, 2, then sloppily pours moonshine into his flask, which he caps and pockets as he walks away, whistling some merry tune off-key and wheezy. For a long time, Jebediah lies where he is, staring at the younger man's body. What to do? Wait for someone else to come along? Run to find the moonshiner? The man's hand twitches, and then there's a soft groan. It grows louder. Jebediah rises stiffly as if he's aged a decade in the last minutes. His mouth is sticky, parched. He opens the sipping jug, wipes the top with his jacket sleeve. He takes 3 long gulps. The liquid burns as it goes down. He gasps. The man moans again. Jebediah moves slowly toward the man, like he's trying to run in a muddy creek bed. The man's eyes open in a glassy-eyed stare. He does not appear to be breathing. Had Jebediah only imagined the man's moans? The man's jacket, fallen open, reveals a pin on his vest, the flashing item from moments ago. The pin, knocked loose by the man's fall, is in the shape of a shield with a bright royal blue background, a coin-like insignia, a U, an S, the other letters rising up, floating away like they do in his school books. Ruthie would know right away what the letters say. Ruthie. Jebediah starts crying. He wants his big sister. Another moan. The man's eyelids flutter. Jebediah stares at him. Mister? And that was the first chapter, actually that was the prologue, I should say, of the incredible Jess Montgomery's The Stills. That is the third book in the series, the Kinship Mystery series. Such a brilliant, brilliant read. So if you joined partway through, you can catch, I'm going to go back to the dates because I've written them down. There are they. The Widows that we read from for Jess, and The Hollows. I just noticed my microphone, so that might be a bit better, everyone. I hope the sound was okay. The Widows was on April the 4th. The Hollows was on October the 1st. And today was The Stills. Now, as a reminder, to enter Jess's very generous giveaway on Instagram, make sure you comment before I sign off today. On Facebook, doesn't matter where you're watching from, where we're streaming to, keep watching, but make sure once the broadcast is finished that you go to First Chapter Fun Facebook group and leave a comment on this original post, because that way you will be entered for a chance to win a copy of The Stills. So what did we think of that? I see lots of comments, lots of people watching on Instagram. Beautiful cover. High Society Book Reviews says, and Jess says, yes, you can read in any order. That's perfect. So you can read these books. I'm going to have to look again. The Widows, The Hollows, The Stills, in any order. You can read them in any order you wish, which is fantastic. I see so many comments on Facebook. Lilia says, I know I'll enjoy all three in the series. Diane Dick says, sounds good. I love that cover. And Judy Singer says, I've heard such great things about this book. Getting a lot of love for your books, Jess, you really are. This is amazing. And Ruth says, I would love to win a copy of The Stills. Well, you know what you have to do. On Instagram, comment right now. And on Facebook, make sure you find this broadcast in the First Chapter Fun group and make sure you go and leave a comment there before midnight tonight. You have time. Don't rush off and leave the broadcast before I tell you about Thursday's book. And Shannon says, what a start. I want to read more. Great reading. Well, thank you. And a beautiful cover. It is. Blue is my favorite color. Do you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. When I was a kid, my older sister, she's 2 years older, Jolie, she said, what's your favorite color? Well, someone said, what's your favorite color? My sister said, it's red. And I said, my favorite color is red. And I don't know why I'm doing the voices now. She said, my favorite color is red. And I said, no, mine's red. And she said, no, your favorite color can't be red. It's mine. Your favorite color is blue. And that was probably, I don't know, 46 years ago. And it's still blue. So, so I love this cover too. Jess Montgomery's The Stills. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode of First Chapter Fun. If this is the first time you've caught an episode of First Chapter Fun, do come and join us in the Facebook group or on Instagram so you can look at the archive and see all the other fun things that we're up to. We celebrated our first year anniversary on March 17th, and there's always a ton of stuff going on. But we will be back exactly where you're watching now. We will be back on Thursday. And let me tell you about Thursday's book. It is another historical fiction, historical mystery book. And we're so excited for this one too. We're always excited about our books. An Unexpected Peril by Deanna Rayborn. Now, this is, multi bestseller. This is a series. It is a Veronica Speedwell mystery, one of the series. And I urge you to come and discover this on Thursday. So this will be right here where you are right now, wherever you're watching from, particularly on Facebook, we will be here on Thursday to read you An Unexpected Peril. Hank Philippi Ryan and myself, Hannah Mary McKinnon. So, first chapter fun. If this was your first episode, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so thrilled to have you here. Thank you very much to Jess for allowing us to read from your book again. And of course, her publisher, Minotaur Books. Without the author's permission and without the publisher's permission, we wouldn't be doing this. And we wouldn't be doing this either without all of you who watch these episodes, who leave comments and who interact. So thank you. Thank you very, very much for being here today. And so that concludes our half an hour right on time. Make sure you tune in again for First Chapter Fun, please, on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, as always, please stay safe, stay kind, and we will see you on Thursday. Thank you for watching.